were to die today, thank you. If your father and I were to drop dead today, you two girls would need to be there for one another. So stop fighting and start getting along. Whenever my sister and I got into an argument, my mom would always say something along those lines. That we were siblings, and if she or my dad were to drop dead today, I would need to rely on my sister, and my sister would need to rely on me. Maintaining a relationship with your sibling is important because they are the ones who, more often than not, know you the best. But why do siblings argue? Wouldn't it be easier to just block them out? And how can I even form a connection with them? In my speech, I will be discussing siblings and how it's important to maintain that bond with the person who can donate you their kidney. According to the University of New Mexico Health and Health Sciences, 82% of kids have at least one sibling. Whether it's one of them, or 5 of them, or 10 of them, 82% of kids' parents decided that one child just wasn't enough. Now, everyone is different. We all have different ideals, backgrounds, and personalities when compared to the person next to us. It's because of these differences that we often clash with people opposite to us. For siblings, this clash is far too common. Though on paper, being raised by the same set of 2 adults should make you more similar to someone. But this is far from the truth. In an article by Penn State University, they explained reasons as to why sibling rivalries occur so much in many different households. Their article, Why Do Siblings Fight?, mentioned that children will argue due to their opposing viewpoints, from believing that their parents love their siblings more than them, to beliefs that their sibling is out to get them on a personal level. An example of this would be believing that your sister is personally trying to irritate you by not taking her clothes out of the dryer. Another reason as to why this occurs comes from the Child Mind Institute. Instead, they claim the reason as to why this happens is because children are, quote, forced to live under the same roof and spend much of their free time together. Quote. Well, for some, this sounds like a weak excuse. It may not be that far off. Picture this. You and a randomly selected person are forced to spend 16 hours a day together living under the same roof. The 2 of you are allowed to go about your daily routines, but due to each other's clashing personalities, you each manage to get under the other's skin without even trying. You listening to music while you shower might have just started off as a harmless action, but it's now the reason as to why your roommate is staring daggers at you when you pass them by. Now that we know why sibling altercations happen, it's important to understand the negative effects it causes, for the result is more dire than one thinks. 1 second you're arguing over the trash, and the next you've gone by a whole week without saying a word to each other. Though silence doesn't often just end after a week, or a month, or even a year, it can last up until a person takes their final breath. In moments when we're going back and forth with our siblings, thoughts of hatred towards them appear. The idea of permanently ignoring them sounds so appealing in the moment that it begs the question, why can't I just do that? I mean, what's the harm of just ignoring my annoying little brother for a week or 2? The alleged harm is ignoring someone who has either been with you your whole life or they have known you their entire life. In an article by Everyday Health, they quote author and doctor Heidi Horsley. She reports, quote, if your sibling dies, everyone gives you support. But if you say you're no longer speaking to your brother due to unresolved problems, the response is going to be different, end quote. Even putting aside the ridicule from outsiders, it isn't even easy cutting ties with a loved one. Doing so is extremely emotionally taxing, mainly for those who care about their brother or sister. The negative reaction from others and the strong emotions mustn't be the outcome of pointless and pathetic banter. So far in my speech, I've discussed why siblings argue and why you should avoid it because of the results, but I haven't quite given a solution to how you can solve this issue. To be truthful, it isn't easy, but it isn't impossible. Conversating, playing video games, watching movies, going out for a walk, venting about how annoying your parents are, all of these are ways you can start to mend this relationship with your sibling. As with many things in life, you have to take it slow. Going from not speaking in 10 years to non-stop spending quality time with each other isn't something that can just occur overnight. But let's try to think of this process as growing a flower. From the second a seed is planted into the ground, it doesn't immediately burst up without any sort of assistance. Instead, one must water the seed, give it sunlight, and allow Mother Nature to do her job. Only then can the seed grow, but ever so slowly. From seed to bud, the growing process is evident, but small and miles away from the finish line. There'll come times where it seems as if this bud has no longer grown, that no matter what you do, it doesn't seem to change, leaving the belief that everything is hopeless and that you should just give up. But don't do so. Although you want to continue to water this seed, keep on giving it nutrients, for only then can the little bud transform into a beautiful flower, standing tall and proud. Everyone here can see this seed grow. They just need to allow it room to breathe. By giving it time and acknowledging it, our relationships with our siblings can grow as tall as any beautiful flower. In a world where the craziest things seem to happen daily, it's nice to rely on someone who shares the same blood as us. Now we can reflect on our connections with our loved ones and see what we can do to mend these connections. As stated in the beginning, I too have a sibling. More specifically, a sister who's a year and 6 months younger than me. The two of us are always bickering daily, but regardless of what it is we're arguing about, I can never truly hate her. I say this genuinely because looking at her, I don't see the person she is today. Standing in front of me instead is the little girl who loved to play soccer, had a huge imagination, and was the best artist I'd ever seen. And if my dad and my mom were to drop dead today, it would be that little girl who would rely on me. Ending contact with her wouldn't just be a disservice to my parents, but it would also be to that girl and her sister who were so dependent on each other on the worst and best times in their lives. So to conclude my speech, I cannot stress this enough, that your relationship with your sibling isn't unimportant. It is crucial, and it's worth anything this universe or the next has to offer. Thank you.